I think there's a lot of great things when you look back at history to learn lessons, and I think that's what history should be for, is to learn lessons and to not repeat those lessons. There's such great wisdom from learning things of the past, mistakes of the past, or greatnesses of the past. What worked well. What people have to understand is I think I think a lot of things in history aren't the way that we were taught. I don't think everything is factually always correct. Um, I don't want to go dive deep into certain topics, but I think things are presented a certain way because the victors write the history. Now, um, I think that there's people people nowadays, and you can see this the way that people were talking about Brittany Griner being arrested and sentenced to 9 years in prison for something like really dumb in Russia. Well, what they don't understand is their laws are different than they are here. And you can't equate to the way things are here to the way things are in a different country. Some countries are could be a century behind us. And some people just think that since they have no idea or pay attention to anything else in outside of America, they automatically assume that everywhere is the same, and it's not. There's places where people who are gay are executed, or they're sentenced to prison. There's countries like that. Okay, so this is a very dangerous thing to try to dig up things in the past that happened such a long time ago and try to use it for a victim narrative for today. Um I can't have a rational discussion with people who have no accountability at all. Um I have a ton of accountability of where my life is at. I've made plenty of mistakes in my life. Um, a lot of my struggles are the choices I made. Pretty much all my struggles are the choices I've made. Um, Granted, there is some lack of opportunity, but uh, if I didn't make certain choices, my life could be a different place. But I've learned a lot. Um, and there's a lot of accountability. Um, for instance, my marriage. I take full accountability as a leader, which I wasn't one, but I take full accountability why it fucking failed. And I've told my kids this. Um, and I think that history is like I said, is a great thing to look back at, but it's really hard to decipher what's real, what wasn't, and why people did what they did, and the different mentality that they were living in, um, compared to now. Things were so different than they are now. People had to grow their own food. They had stronger communities. Um, you know, like there was feudalism. If you go way back, I mean, they had kings and queens ruling the land, and the king could do whatever he wanted. He taxed the people. It's just, you know, all different people got screwed over in the past. Okay. And it's like it's like not healing. It's even worse like when you blame problems on a group of people that when you blame your problems on a group of people, you don't take accountability and you look at like yeah, it's like even me, like even I do it, right? I blame a lot of my problems on the elite. Some of it's valid, some of it's not. Um, but I think that there's in life there's more gray than there is black and white. And I'm not talking about race when it comes to that. I just say like tall or short. Like there's more nuance in life, and it's not only one way. People perceive things different ways. People have different experiences. And I think that a lot of people have a lot of trauma that they have been through that people need healing. People need to be healed. That's what people need right now. They need to be fucking healed. People are at each other's throats, and they don't even know why they're holding on to such bitterness, and they have so much agitation built up. They don't know why. They just do, and they hold on to it. And perhaps they suppress their emotions with abusing things, whether it's food, drugs, sex, uh, entertainment, anything. And I think a lot of people don't have the correct balance. You know, I was watching these. I've seen a couple of these videos where um, they're like, "Don't eat this. Don't eat this. 50 brain cell challenge if you eat a product that has uh, all these different ingredients. Each ingredient is minus a brain cell." And then they showed like all cereal stuff with like sugar and like yeah, most of our food here in America is there's so much other additives in there that I don't know why it's in there. Um, and some of it's like yeah, like pop is obviously poison, and so is alcohol, and like sugary foods like candy, obviously. But it's not like, but these people are like, never eat this. It's like, why? Why can I never have a thing of alcohol? Why? Why can I never eat a sugar? Like, if I eat this one thing or I have this one drink, I'm just gonna die right now. No, it's called moderation. That's what it's called. When you get over an addiction, unless it's an addiction that will, um, like a cigarette or like a drug, like you take one and then like you're hooked. If it's something like you've always been an emotional eater, and then like you lose a bunch of weight and you decide to eat something, or have a swig of alcohol. I think that people who feel like they need to be sober for like 20 years and they can't have a drink, I think that they're not really over it. I don't think they've really healed from their emotional things. And they don't trust themselves enough that they won't fall off the wagon again. So I don't think that they're truly over the addiction. They just might, they haven't had any for 20 years, but if you can have some, like of a drink or a pastry or whatever you're addicted to, or if you can go out, you got a gambling problem, if you can go out and do that after you've overcome it and then not resort back into the imbalance that you were in before, it's testing yourself and seeing like this isn't this like for me like yeah, I'll have some drinks like right now I haven't been drinking, but I'll have a couple drinks over the holidays. Um, Not because I feel like I have to, not because I feel like I'm trying to drown myself in anything. I'm just having a couple drinks, trying to enjoy the festivities as much as I can. But I usually don't. I usually don't like to at all. Um, but I'm not gonna fall off the wagon. I'm not gonna like start drinking all the time. Wow, this video's evolved into something different than I wanted to. But if you having it, it's just healing, man. If you can't like if you can't have a cup of coffee and you're highly addicted to coffee and you got off of it and you feel like you can't have one cup, you got there's other problems. There's a lot of emotional problems that people have, man, and they're just feeling it with shopping, anything. My whole point is in life, you have to have balance, man. Because if even if like you do something like really productive like work all the time or something like or you don't play, like you play video games all the time, that's kind of unproductive, but it's not. If you're playing with friends, like for me, if I was to play video games all the time, I'm not gaining anything. I'm just kind of wasting my time a little bit, but maybe that's what I want to do to relax. It's a balance. If you go to work all the time and you work all the time, you're going to sacrifice probably relationships. If you're going to work 80 hours a week, you're going to miss some things with your kids. If you have kids and a wife, yeah, you'll have all this money, but you're going to sacrifice your health. You're going to sacrifice stress, like peace of mind. Not peace of mind, but peace. Your bills are paid for. You're able to buy things that, somebody like me can't buy. But you know what I can buy? I got peace. I got relaxation. Um, I was there for my kids. Growing up, I've always been there for them. I went to all their sporting stuff, their school stuff, their all that stuff. I was there for them. If you're constantly working, providing all this material crap, they don't know you. Yeah, you provided all that material crap, and that's awesome, but you weren't there for them. And that's a big thing. Like when a kid looks up and they see you at their graduation or something that they're participating in, and you're supposed to be there to support them, and you're not there. That's a huge thing on them, on their psyche, because that's what they want. They want like you're their number one cheerleader. You're supporting them. If they don't get that support, that's a huge thing. That's like a detriment to their psyche. Um, and there's so many people that have a lot of things that they need to heal on their own. They don't understand that. They think, I'll go on to this thing. I'll go on to this next thing. Like for me, you know, what am I gonna go on to the next thing? I don't have any goals, right? Like I wanted to get big off of here. I wanted to get a brand and get off the 9 to 5 job. And I just kind of have to accept that I'm gonna be on this lower level. But what I can do is with my time is I can start with my health thing. That's my big thing right there is my health. But I can start diving deep into psychology, not psychology, but like philosophers, and that's something that's interesting me. Like these philosophers, and then I can come to conclusions of things on my own and listen to other people and then write my own writings. I already have. I wrote a book and it was a terribly written book, Yeah, but guess what I've learned? I've learned from some of my mistakes. And I think a lot of people feel like you have to just be great right away. You can't make any mistakes. For instance, if I was you listen to me my music, I kind of rushed a lot of it. I think that my songs kind of got a little bit better, you know. I think that my newer poems are probably a little bit more polished than my old ones. I don't know. But in anything in life, you're going to make mistakes. And that's how you get better because you learn from them. But the big thing is to learn from other people's mistakes. Um, the big thing I think that a lot of people are struggling with in their own struggle is I think a lot of people are dividing themselves and stereotyping themselves and putting themselves in a box based off how they look. And I think that people need to get over the fact of how they look and look more into about values. Look into other people with values. Um, and people need to just because they look a certain way doesn't mean that they have to stereotype themselves and divide themselves and segregate themselves from other people. And it's okay to um, have interest in people in different people's cultures. Like what I was saying to my coworkers yesterday, and they looked at me like I was crazy when I said this. I said, I like when women are all covered up. I think that's attractive to me. I like the hijab. I like this on females. I think that looks really attractive. And they looked at me like I'm crazy. I don't think there's anything wrong with looking at other people's cultures and taking interest in other people's cultures because I don't look like somebody else, other group of people that like a certain thing, doesn't mean that I just have to be with this other group of people because they look like me and believe everything that they like and like everything that they like. I think that humanity, I think that people need to wake up and get over the fact of how they look and feel the freedom to be themselves and not be afraid to go against the grain. And a lot of people are. You can see it's it's getting worse with the lemming mentality nowadays where people just follow along to follow along. You know, people will be like because I support Trump because I like the things he says though they automatically think that I'm brainwashed or I'm in a cult because I like what Elon stands for. Not everything. I don't think that these people are perfect. I think they made mistakes and I don't agree with everything. Okay? Like for instance with Elon, I think that he should not ban Alex Jones. He won't. Um, there's a lot of things I disagree with Trump on. I don't, you know, and that's and these people you can see who are in a herd mentality, they will not they will not question their leaders at all. I'll question mine. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. And I kind of feel like I can't debate anybody or want to have even a discussion with people who are so close-minded that they can't think outside the box or outside the narrative. I'm not sitting here thinking 100% for the narrative. I thought that Trump coming out with NFTs, possibly it was just a ploy to get attention on him. I mean, that's cool. You could have dinner with them. That'd be cool, like to win a contest and have dinner, or have a get together with somebody famous. You know, like let's say like Tim Cass, like we're gonna have a drawing if you buy this NFT, and then you can be a guest on our show. That'd be cool. Um, that's a cool idea. It gives people who wouldn't normally have a chance to be able to come out of the spotlight or actually interact with somebody that will never have a chance to get to know them. And I think that that is outside the box thinking. Um, but these people that are really high up, these people who are really huge figures, need to be very careful about people who come around because they could try to hurt them. Um, yeah, I'm just so tired of the wordplay. I'm so tired of the wordplay. And for another thing is like even if I was to debate people and I was to come up with some type of statistics or facts or whatever, they'd be like, "Oh, that was off the internet, blah 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 blah," and they would just dismiss it anyway. So it's like pointless. If somebody's like so stuck in their ways, I'm not stuck in my ways. I will evolve my thinking. I'll evolve my thought process. I'll take on new information and then be like, okay, that makes sense. But there's a lot of people that just won't because they're complete followers. I might be a leader and nobody's following, so I'm not really a leader. I'm just not following the herd. But at least I can have some type of critical thinking, even of people who could be on my side, who could stand for the same values as I do. Um, the basic thing that people who stand with me are all about Christianity, which, my opinion on religion is some people need something to um, believe in that's good. Um, as long as you're not hurting somebody else. If it gives you a purpose in this world, which is super confusing. But to hear like when you hear historical things, you have to question everything. You have to question everything, man. And you have to kind of take it with a grain of salt. And understand that what happened in the past with like the civilization or morality or anything like that is completely different than now. What you have to take is like human nature, and I don't think that humans have evolved like they did in the past. I'm sorry to say, I don't think that we have. I'm just thinking about something else. I don't think that humans have really changed. Human nature has really changed dramatically. Um, People might act a little differently, but if the technology was there, um, the technology, just say like um, you take a baby. If you go back in a time, you take all of our technology back into time, and I think people would act very similar to they acting now. How they're acting now with technology. That's how I think. I just don't think that we've evolved that much. Um, we have with our morals, but I think human nature is This world can be a really ugly place. How do we survive? How does anything survive on this planet? Well, it needs to take in something else to live. Um, a plant needs to take in sun, that needs to take in water. But for me or other animals to survive, we need to eat that plant, which is alive, or another animal, which is alive. If we don't, then we pass away. Our bodies fail. We starve to death. So, we still have this mentality of an eat or be eaten, a survival. We haven't really changed that much, in my opinion. I do think that we're going to get dumber. I think that we are getting dumber. We might have more knowledge. We might have more knowledge at our fingertips. But as technology progresses, we will have less use to know certain things. Like in 50 years, people aren't gonna know. There's gonna be a scarcity for people to know how to fix a gas powered vehicle. And nuclear fusion is like, they can do it now, from what I hear. And a lot of things are going to be powered by nuclear fusion in the future. That's where a lot of our electricity is going to come from. How many people in our civilization, know how to grow food? Hardly any. If we lost power, how many of us would be able to go live off grid? Hardly any. Do we know how to plow fields? Do we know how to ride horses? Take care of horses? That's what I'm saying. Like, our knowledge would just be, we might not get dumber, but it just depends on the type. If you're gonna intermingle with AI, I think that your intelligence will increase dramatically if you take the brain chip. But if you don't, the people that don't, they will just probably, and they continue to rely on technology, they'll probably get dumber and dumber, because technology will just do everything for them. I wish that people would just, people need to heal. Okay, people need to heal. And how we heal, regardless of if you listen to Andrew Tate, it's to talk about things and get things off of our chests. That's how we heal. That's a big way how we heal. You don't have to agree with me, disagree. When you talk about something that's bothering you, it really helps release the burden. Yeah.